Okay, so I reached coast fire in my 20s and built up a nice cushion for myself, but that definitely didn't come without mistakes. In fact, looking back, I believe I made a few critical errors with my finances that cost me tens of thousands of dollars. When I crunched the numbers on these mistakes I made, it honestly made me cringe a little bit because we could be talking about a lot of money for not much extra work, which is basically what investing is, right? You're putting your money into something that works for you instead of cash, which just basically does nothing and loses value over time. Because if you do it passively and you do it for long term, investing really shouldn't be that much work. So, without further ado, here are 7 mistakes I made with my money. These are going to go in increasing order of significance. And some of them are going to be very concrete things like accounts I did or didn't open. And some are going to be a little bit more philosophical money mistakes. So, I hope you enjoy. So, this video is going to be more focused on things I didn't do very well. But first, let's briefly discuss what I did do well and why this strategy still worked despite my mistakes. Number one, to invest well, you need income. You need to run a surplus, as the politicians would say. And I had that part down as a software engineer, and this allowed me to invest a lot of money every month. If your income's low, that is for sure one thing you need to focus on. You got to look at some high paying fields, acquiring skills to get those jobs, and grind your way into a position where you do have extra income. Because without that, you're just going to be facing an uphill battle the entire time. So if you can get into a position where you have an extra 500, an extra $1,000 or more to invest in your 20s, that is a huge winning position in the financial chess game. I was also great at not inflating my lifestyle, and this was huge because I'd rather be the guy making 60K but saving 10K than the guy making 200K but spending 201K and saving nothing, or even worse, getting into debt. A high income will not matter if you spend it all. And I took this to an extreme. I mean, I did a lot of stuff, and here's some tactics that you could use. You could live with roommates. You could live with your parents even. You could make sure you buy cheaper cars, and you limit expensive and unnecessary things like alcohol, for example. I also had no major debts. I didn't inflate my lifestyle. And if you do those things, you should be good to go. I also mostly invested in long-term things as I matured in my journey. I started off trying to, day trade and do stuff like that, and I saw how it was just going to hurt me. So then I quit playing that game to play the long game. As always, this video is not financial advice. I'm just a guy telling my story who made some mistakes, and my journey is far from perfect as well. So that's what I did well. Now let's begin to talk about what I didn't do so well. The first mistake I made was not defining what I wanted and not budgeting out my life. Life and money is really a math problem. You have to break things down into concrete numbers. Here's a really bad way to have a goal. My goal is to be rich. My goal is to be in shape. Well, what does that mean? That's so vague. Okay, so you want to be rich. Great. What does that mean? Does that mean you want to buy a Corvette? You want to have a nice house with 4 bedrooms? Does that mean you want to travel? Does that mean you want freedom or you want to leave your job? Whenever you're striving for something, you need to define what this looks like in as concrete of a way as you can. Because without knowing what you want out of life and what you want with your money, you really have no roadmap for what to do with your investing. And what you're doing with your money is going to change depending on your goals. For example, someone who wants to buy a house in 2 years might have a different financial strategy than someone who wants to rent, invest, and travel. Totally depends on your goals. And not having this nailed down makes you prone to mistakes. And early on, I was just blindly, putting my money in accounts without even thinking about it. So think of your perfect life. What does it look like? Do you need enough for a house? Enough to raise a family? What income do you want? For me, I wanted financial freedom and flexibility. So I set up my life like a math problem. I used a compound interest calculator to estimate a range of where my money could be in the future. And I kept tabs on all my spending, all my expenses, to just basically have a budget of what I could spend and what I could invest. Doing this, you can calculate a runway, which just basically means using your money in terms of how many months of freedom do you get. And I always told myself, if I can save and invest $3,000 a month for 2 years and keep my expenses below $3,500 a month and put the investments into ETFs, I can buy some real time to chase my dreams. And that's eventually what I ended up doing. Now, my long-term game is a lot different because I would like to support a family of 4 or 5, live in a nice house, pay for a nice lifestyle for them. And this is going to be a lot of money. So I'm very happy that I was taking money seriously in my 20s because it's just going to make it easier for me later because there's a lot of math at play here. So if you have no plan or really don't know exactly what it is you want yet, that's fine too. I would say starting is equally as important. I'd rather have you just start taking money seriously without a plan than saying, well, I don't have a plan, so I'm just going to spend all of this. As with anything in life, have a bias towards action, and a general flexible plan helps. There's been so many times in my life where I was prone to making a lot of mistakes. I mean, people always say when it comes to investing, right, you got to buy low and sell high. So many times in my life, I would buy stocks high and then actually sell them low. So that's a bad thing, right? And I think I've identified another mistake in my journey. That's not setting up a Discord server sooner. So I'm officially launching my Discord, and it's going to be a work in progress. And I'm sure I'll learn a lot and make mistakes and adjustments over time. But I want to get this opened up and for everyone in here. For now, we're going to call it Y Learns Lab, a place where we all can make experiments in our lives with finance, money, and entrepreneurship. And I want this to be a place to bring people together to share ideas, share stories, ask for help, ask good questions, and more. It's completely free, and the link's going to be in the description below. I'm hoping this move strengthens our already amazing community so that we can continue growing together and help each other figure life out. I'm going to take a look at it daily, but I can't make promises yet on how active I'll be on it because I have some travels coming up. But I'll be checking in, listening, and growing it alongside you, and occasionally jumping in to answer questions as well. So I'm very excited about this. Hang in here with me as it's going to take some time to sort it out as I'm new to this, and I'm going to learn a lot along the way. I'll also say right off the bat, if you join and you're toxic, you're putting people down, you're hating on anyone or spamming, you will be kicked immediately with a lifetime ban, no exceptions. This is only for people interested in making those around them better and being positive and learning. It's not for negativity or spam. So I'm going to be rolling out some new features and experiments with this Discord where I can maybe game and hang out with you guys and get to know you more on a personal level. So more to come on that, but I hope to see you there. Now back to the finance talk. So mistake number 2 is being smarter with my cash. Many times I would hold large amounts of cash, and I still do at times, like 30 or 40,000 of cash at a given time, usually for flexibility and to be able to buy discounted stocks if crazy stuff happen. And I would mostly just keep my cash in a checking account or just in my brokerage account. And this is a big missed opportunity because gives me basically no yield on this cash, like very minimal. And laziness has cost me here because there are many options for cash that I could have had a 3 to 4% return on just keeping my cash parked somewhere. And because of this, I've left a 5-figure amount of cash on the table. Like if I had 30 grand of cash and this gets a 4% return, that's 1,200 per year, basically risk free. I mean, if I had done that efficiently over the last 6 years, we could be talking between $7,000 to $10,000 for just using cash efficiently, which at most would be a few hours of work to set up the account and transfer money in. An extra $10,000 for 2 hours of my work doesn't sound bad to me, and this is where I've really missed an opportunity. So mistake number 3 is not taking advantage of tax benefits. For me, I made 2 big mistakes with tax advantage accounts. When you invest, you need to pay taxes. And taxes can be significant at times, especially for short-term capital gains, long-term capital gains, dividends, you name it. I usually owe the IRS money every year because of my investments, and I haven't gotten a tax return in a few years because of my investments. Now I've put over $150,000 into tax-advantaged accounts, but I really didn't take them seriously until my mid-20s. This could have mattered big time to have more tax-free income put into an investment account during COVID or prior to COVID. So it's important to look at what tax benefits are available to you. In America, there's plenty of them. There's 401ks, Roth IRAs, HSAs. In other countries, there's similar opportunities, but they may look different. I also opened an HSA very late, like at 24, 25. And this is the only account with a triple tax benefit. You don't pay taxes going in, you don't pay taxes on the growth of the investment, and you don't pay taxes taking the money out if it's used for medical expenses. This works for me and many watching in America because we all have medical expenses. If not now, we will later in our lives. And most people spend a lot more on their health expenses as you get older. So this is money that you don't pay any taxes on when it's used for stuff that you know you're going to need. I also regret not juicing up my 401k contributions sooner in my early 20s because I had the ability to contribute more to this when I was younger. And the 401k is just nice, right? Because you don't pay taxes on it immediately and you don't pay taxes on capital gains, only when you withdraw. So if I put more than just the minimum for the match, I would have not paid taxes on $19,000 and $20,000 of my income per year. And that compounding over 40 years is a big deal. So this could vary depending on your situation, but I like less taxes as opposed to more taxes. And these 2 simple moves would have saved me tens of thousands of dollars in taxes and even more possibly over my lifetime. So mistake number 4 is thinking that you're smarter than the market. You are not smarter than the market. I tried to do all the fancy things, right? Day trading, buying stocks before earnings, all that crap. And most of the time I got burnt. Unless you have some insider information, this is gambling. It's not investing. I would say that most short-term trading just is going to bring you more stress and actually less profit. Because if you look at the stats, you have a much lower probability of winning the shorter your trade is. Like, sure, you can make money faster, but in order for that to be possible, you're fully capable of losing money faster. Believe me. I've lost thousands of dollars many times chasing these, and I got lucky a few times too. But I would have certainly been better off if I just went with the safe stuff, saving me some stress, saving me some sleep and some mental health. And I would definitely have more money than I do now. So again, many, many thousands lost here. You're not smarter than the market. You're not special. Get that out of your head to be successful in investing and in life in general. Mistake number 5 is FOMO investing and over diversifying. So, this is somewhat related to short term trading, but FOMO investing is rampant, and I've fallen for it a few times as well. This just basically means you buy something because it's ripping upwards and you're afraid that you're going to miss a big opportunity to get rich. By the time the FOMO hype is here, it's probably already too late. Just ask most people who brought GameStop or Dogecoin when it was ripping upwards. Don't chase quick things. It's just getting others rich quick. I've gotten burned with FOMO in the crypto space a few times, and this has cost me thousands. Also, buying too many one off things might cause some over diversification in your portfolio. Like my portfolio is kind of loaded up with individual stocks that I've bought for a long time. Like I held them in 2019 and 2020 and 2021. And this is becoming harder to manage and keeping up with news on these companies. I just wish I kept it simple again. The only reason I'm not selling is because I'm not ready to eat the tax loss right now. My portfolio looks very stupid because of these types of decisions at times, so watch out for this. So these final 2 mistakes are possibly the biggest mistakes most people can make. Mistake number 6 is not starting even sooner. The earlier you take your money and your finances seriously, the more it'll help you. I started at 22. Again, I was very young, and that was the best decision I've ever made with my finances. But I had been working since I was 16, and oftentimes I'd have $50 or $100 left over afterwards each month that I would go spend on dumb things. If I had invested even $50 a month or $100 a month for those 6 years before I actually started, doing the math, it would likely be between $10,000 and $20,000 today if I just started a little bit earlier. If I started when I was 16, 18, 20, I would be in a much better position than I'm in now. Many of you are young watching this, and I would say start looking into this stuff. Don't just listen to me or blindly follow my advice. Do some research on what works and see what conclusion you come to. So, mistake number 7, and I think this is the biggest one you can make, is assuming that more money will solve your happiness. Happiness does not have a monetary value, but it's probably the most important part of living. Figuring out how you can be content with what you have and the people around you should be priority number 1, and money oftentimes won't help you get there past a certain point. Myself and many others who have accumulated a nice sum of money in their lives can back me up on this. There are many, many other more important factors that influence your happiness that are outside of money. I've met a lot of people with a lot of wealth, like beyond your wildest dreams, and sometimes they lack that happiness. The studies on this are debated, but they usually show something like this. Once you have a baseline income in your life to be comfortable, you have all your needs met, plus some left over to give you some peace of mind, adding more and more money doesn't correlate with being happier. There are diminishing returns to just adding more and more money. Like there's not much of a difference between $5 million and $7 million. Like, what are you going to do with that extra money? As long as I have enough to do what I want, that's all I need. If you're listening to this, I would focus on getting yourself to a comfortable place in life where you're making enough money to be comfortable. And then remember to feed other areas of your life, like have a good circle of people with you, go on dates, find some hobbies. For me personally, I'm not making near as much money as I used to be, but I'd say I'm much happier. I have more control and more freedom over my life, and I'm still making some money, but I'm working on the things I enjoy more. If you're not happy now, don't assume becoming rich will get you to happiness magically. It's just one component of a complex problem that is human happiness. So just some final closing thoughts. I've easily lost over 50K on all of these mistakes. That is a realistic ballpark estimate when you add up the missed interest, the tax advantages, the emotional investing mistakes. And we all make mistakes. It's normal. But I hope that you can learn from some of these. Thanks for the support on my recent videos and investing videos. It's been amazing talking with all of you. I hope you crush it in your investing journey. And thanks to everyone listening. Let me know what mistakes you've made, and we'll talk at the next one.